I want to welcome you and your delegation to Israel. It's a pleasure to see you all here, especially at this time. I just said to you that the first thing I want you to do is to send warmest regards to your father. I remember him fondly from my days in the UN. At that time in the UN, I had to address the question of the constant attempts to force a moral asymmetry on the world, or a false symmetry on Israel. That's what you do in the United Nations if you're the ambassador of Israel. And I remember how strongly, firmly, and clearly Governor Cuomo, Mario Cuomo, stood with Israel at the time, and this is a tradition that continues with you and your delegation. I want to thank you for coming here, for standing clearly with Israel, representing the American people and the people of New York, and also representing the rejection of this false symmetry that is made. Just as you wouldn't put America and ISIS on the same moral plane, you'd never put Israel and Hamas on the same moral plane. Remember that Hamas celebrated 9/11. They celebrated the murder of thousands of innocent people, including thousands of New Yorkers. They celebrated it. They were standing on the roofs and cheering while all the people of Israel grieved with the United States. When the United States killed bin Laden, they accused the United States and condemned the United States of committing crimes. This tells you where Hamas is, and Israel is on the other side. Hamas continues to do these horrible things that ISIS does. They persecute Christians, they persecute gays, they persecute women. They basically reject modernity. And they are a terrorist tyranny that is imposed on their people. And when their people reject being used as human shields, you know what they do, Governor? They execute them. This is the kind of moral divide that is evident today in the world. And on one side, you have Israel and the United States representing democracies committed to human rights, committed to a real future for our people. And on the other side, you have the likes of ISIS and Hamas, Islamist tyrannies that have no inhibition in pursuing their grisly creeds and their grisly deeds. I thank you for coming here and standing on the right side of the moral divide.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, Prime Minister, it's our pleasure. We know that you're going through a very difficult time right now, and Israel is going through a very difficult time, and that is precisely why we're here, because we want to stand shoulder to shoulder with Israel. We want to stand in solidarity with you. The delegation that has come forward is unprecedented in some ways. We have both sides of the legislature, the Assembly and the Senate. It's a bipartisan delegation. We have business representatives, thought leaders, and we all wanted to come as one in solidarity, in unity, to say to Israel, we understand the situation you are in, we understand what you are facing, and we support your right, your need to defend your people against terror. The United States has always been a strong ally of Israel on many, many levels. As New Yorkers, we have many connections, family connections, cultural connections, historic connections, so our relations go very deep. And I speak for all New Yorkers when I say we stand in solidarity with Israel. The fight that you fight is the fight against terror. Unfortunately, in New York, we've had a rude awakening to the pain and suffering that terror can cause in 9/11. So we have a special sensitivity in our hearts for what you're going through now. We wish you peace. Everyone hopes that the killing will stop and we can get to a place of peace. I know that's your hope. You've been quite articulate and eloquent on the subject. But we understand that Israel must defend itself. The discovery of these tunnels I find very troubling indeed. It shows the extensive approach of the enemy, the constant rocket fire, and the Iron Dome is successful, but that it must stop, and we understand that also. So we pray for peace. We stand with you in defense.